we go. All right, so the people online or people who get the recording missed that first part. Anyway, so I'm gonna do 10 tools that some of them we've had for 4 or 5 years. Some of them literally, like I said, I'll be talking about new in the fall session. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Adjust All. Probably my favorite tool. And I say that because it's something that allows you to save a ton of time in every single class. You simply go into your course navigation in Canvas and make it available, enable it. It will then go through your whole class and allow you to change every single date.
Hallelujah.
In one screen. Now, part of why this is my favorite is because I'm now teaching a class at Cypress College. All right. This is my second semester teaching. I'm just finishing it up. They don't have this tool. All right. When it came up for renewal, that was the fastest yes I could come up with. Because I wish that I could use this tool. This literally, you pull out your calendar and you just start typing in the dates that you want. All on one screen, you go through it in minutes. Now, this includes locking of your modules if you want. It includes your announcements. You can schedule when your announcements are going to go out. Everything is in this one tool. All right. Literally, I've seen it save people. I take people half an hour to go through their class, and you tell me, how long does it take you to go through and open up every assignment, hit save, go through the next one and hit save, because you're just reusing the content, right? Okay. So this is, like I said, probably my favorite tool. Now I've got a lot of close seconds, but it's an excellent tool, and it's in Canvas. All you have to do is enable it.
Can I ask a question about it?
Please.
So when I'm setting up a new course and I import from, the previous semester, and it has the option to, update the dates, do I just leave that blank and then wait to do it in Adjust All?
So my recommendation is exactly that. When you import your course, my recommendation is not to move the dates over. And I'll give you a couple of reasons for that. One, when I see that I'm going to do my fall class and I see September 5th. Did I change the date, or did Canvas change the date? Okay, I've got to figure that out. If I didn't do that and I pulled my spring course, I see May 5th. I know I haven't changed that date. I need to change it. Okay, so it's just easy for that way. The other is that if you have Canvas change the date, any meetings you have, for instance, Zoom meetings, those dates will change as well. And now in your calendar, you will have all the Zoom meetings that won't work. You have to then go through and delete every single one of them individually. So it's things like that that just make it so that just say no. Just don't change the date and use this tool. Takes you an extra 2 minutes, but then you have it right. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Really nice tool there. So now, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I was just gonna say, a good way to, I use it, a good way I used to also check is if you go under the assignments, you can see the dates on the assignments for all the similarly classed assignments. To say you have discussion assignments, you can just make sure all the discussion assignments have the right dates. It's an easy way to go, because sometimes when you're doing it under Adjust All, it's hard to keep track of all the dates. But when you go back to that assignments feature on Canvas at one go, you could just make sure that all the assignments have the right dates. It's a good way to double check.
This tool is on Canvas, like down below settings.
In settings, navigation, you
Okay.
just enable it. Now that said, Adjust All automatically. I can't do that. Adjust All automatically puts it in order by module. So that's why it might feel like, wait a minute, this is out of order. But the concept being that they're looking at is if you're teaching your course and you're using modules in order, week 1, week 2, week 3 type of thing, then all of your week 1 is together. And you change all the dates for week 1 together, or week 2 together, or topic 1, topic 2, or however you're doing it that way. So that's why it works out really well that way, but it also can be confusing if you use a different order or something like that. Okay. Second one is Brisk. This is a new one, brand new, literally month old, maybe. So Brisk is a tool that from YouTube article, a document, something like that, you can Brisk it and it will create a quiz.
Sweet.
It will create a presentation. It'll create a podcast. So if it's an article, it will actually create a audio file that you can use in your class that will actually have read that file. This is using AI, of course. So whether you want to use AI or not, if you want to use Brisk, nice part is all you do is you go to briskteaching.com. It's an add-in to Chrome. Actually, I think it will also work. I think it will work in Safari. It works in Edge for sure, but definitely in Chrome. It's an add-in, and then you can use it, and you can use it on a New York Times article or something like that. It will, whatever page you got up, it will read that page and create this content for you. Now, anytime AI creates content, please review the content and make sure it's accurate. Okay, I say that because 90% of the time it's good, it's accurate. 10% of the time it's horrible. Okay, and you don't want that to happen in the middle of your final exam that a student comes back and says, but I said, or what is that word? So
Where do we find this at?
so briskteaching.com. So at the bottom of each of these slides, I'll tell you where to find each of these tools. So briskteaching.com. And also for those people who are using DraftBack, okay, DraftBack is in Google Docs. When you go through, you can actually see how students wrote their document and it'll play it back. DraftBack isn't available anymore. Instead, you go here and you click on Inspect Writing and it shows you a video of how the student created that document or how that document was created. And by the way, it works whether you're using Google Assignments, anything like that. It's Google Docs, but other than that, it's actually really neat.
So really,
I've done it on my own work.
if they did Control C, Control V, you will see. that?
You'll, all of a sudden it pops up.
Oh, God. that's
Yep.
funny.
Absolutely, copy paste, that, it's really neat to see that. Now, you don't see other tabs that they had open or anything like that, you just see that document. But yes, that's exactly what it's for. It also has the ability, notice in the upper right, it says give feedback. Now, contrary to what a lot of people think, it does not give students feedback. All right, that's what they've heard, that's what you might have heard. What it does is it gives you feedback on whatever was written, and then you can choose to give that to the students or not. But it does not put feedback in for students, right? You understand the distinction. It gives you the information. Now, why is that important? Well, we've got a lot of people who are saying, hey, wait, I want my teacher to give me the feedback. Yeah, I agree. All right, but in this case, that's exactly what is happening. Now, what it does is the 30th time you are reading the same AI paper, AI generated paper, it doesn't sound like you're giving the feedback from the 30th time you've read that same paper. All right, and I say that way because I just, for my class, for the midterm paper, it's paper, and I had 70 of them that I read, and some of them were my prompt back to me in AI. They got the appropriate score. But Brisk does a really nice job of letting you know what's going on that. In that particular case, I didn't have them use Google Docs, so I couldn't run it through the Inspect Writing. Because I would get a PDF or something like that, it didn't really matter. But feedback is a really nice feature, and again, it gives me the feedback as the teacher, gives you the feedback, does not give the students feedback. So you read it, you go, oh yeah, I like this, or I don't like it, or you change it, whatever you want to do. It's text. So you've got the feedback there.
So it's only for Google Docs, it doesn't work like on, if they use Word or something
Right.
like that.
No. Now, it also has the ability to create the syllabus, create a rubric, create a podcast. Again, it will read a document to you, and you've got a file then that you can use. So it's a really nice tool for that. Next one, and for those of you who've heard me present so far, I probably, other than Brisk being new, none of these are surprise. Design Plus is another one of those non-surprises. I really, really like this particular program. This allows you to make your class actually look cool. Instead of that white page that is Canvas, you can put color in, you can organize things and stuff like that. We're shutting off the old version of Design Plus in a couple of weeks. They're gonna get rid of it in the middle of summer. I'll shut it off before classes start instead of after. But Design Plus, the new one actually is it takes about an hour to get used to, and once you do, it's like, oh, I don't want to go back to the old one. All right. And I say that because I had fought it until I had my own class, and they don't have the classic version of Design Plus. They only have the new one. And so I had to get into it, and literally almost immediately I went, oh, this is better. Okay. So it's already available in Canvas. You have the option for multi-tool. Multi-tool allows you to create identical looking modules, for instance. It lets you create your homepage, a lot of different things, and it really does organize your class, help you organize your class really quickly and really well.
And so if we use the old version, will our stuff will still carry
It
over?
still moves over, yep. All of your templates and everything move over, but you'll want to update it to the new version, and it'll literally hit it down. And it goes really well. And there's a couple of nuances that you have to do, but it's literally, there's a button there that click on that. Okay, click on it again. So it does it for you.
Is there a training video for that available?
I don't have a training video on that yet. That is one of my goals for the summer. For the last year, I haven't had a place where I could do recording. And theoretically,
There should be
come
something on
June,
YouTube or something.
there's stuff on YouTube and at cdlabs.com on it. Another CD Labs product. How many of you have been teaching the same class for more than 3 years? How many of you have hundreds of documents, images, assignments, stuff like that that are just taking up space in your class and you're never going to use them again, but you don't know for sure if they're in use, right? Tidy up. You run that on your class, and it goes through and looks at files, folders, and Canvas content, and says where it's used, and if it's not used, it gives you the ability to delete it. Really, really nice. Okay, now my suggestion is you're getting ready for fall. Do it, import into fall and do it in that class. Why? Because you can always go back to the spring class and pull it out if you accidentally deleted something you didn't want to. Okay, so you always have the backup then. But in your new class, before you get started on everything, tidy it up, and all of a sudden Canvas will load faster. Okay, if you have 200 assignments in, you're only using 20. It's loading all 200 before it shows you the 20 that you're going to use. So just clean it up. It's amazing how fast that will make it. It'll feel better too. Okay, and then you don't have that. Oh, did I use this image or was it this version or whatever? All right. Now
Can I
that
ask
said,
one question, would it help me? I always have like one file every semester that's locked and I can't find where it's locked.
so once you've cleaned it up, you'll have fewer files, and then yes, usually you can
Okay.
get that a lot easier. So that said, one of the only downside that I've really got for this particular program is if you use images in your question banks. It does not read through your question banks and identify those images. So it'll say the image is not used, but it could be in a question bank. So that's also why do it early. Do it before classes start, not at the end of your class. And then you can look at it and you can go, oh, oops, it got the wrong one here, and then we can deal with it later. Okay, so.
But it still has the old stuff in here, because when you delete, you're thinking, oh gee, I hope it still has my stuff from 2 years ago.
So we do not delete your old classes.
Okay,
In fact, Canvas has no way of deleting your old
Okay.
classes. So you can go back to your classes from 8 years ago.
okay,
They're still available in here.
okay.
In Canvas.
This just cleans up the current one.
This cleans up your current one,
Ah.
and then when you copy it to next semester, it doesn't have the garbage from before.
All right.
Grackle. So Grackle is an add-in to Chrome. And it works in Google Docs, Google Slides. Those are the main two. And basically what it does is it checks your document, checks your slides, and sees how accessible it is. Does it have all the different areas? I did this on this particular presentation and 16 different areas it was checking. Now, I will tell you flat out, the problem with all of these, the main problem is none of these images have alternative text behind them. Why? Because I'm not going to be sending this out to anybody. I just did it for me, and for me to look at it, I can see it. And by the way, the reason I don't send these out to people, when people ask me for my PDFs or my presentations, if it's a video, that's great. I don't like sending these out because realistically, if you don't know what I'm saying, this isn't that useful to you, all right? I try to go with the less is more when I do slides. Not always good, but I try. So that said, Google Docs slides, Docs and Slides verifies accessibility, but you see this little spot here, it says export to PDF. Once it is accessible, you hit export to PDF and that PDF is now accessible. Okay. That said, you go into Word and you create a document. You make it accessible in Word, then you export it to PDF, and then you make it accessible in PDF, and then you send it out, okay? This will actually do it all in one shot. Word cleans it up a lot, but you still need to recheck it to make sure. So this is a really neat package. Again, it's just simply in Chrome. You add it as an extension underneath your IVC credentials, your IVC email and password.
So this is not in Canvas. You got
This is not in Canvas. This has nothing to do with Canvas in this case.
just Google it or?
This only checks accessibility, it doesn't help you fix it though, right?
It tells you exactly where
Do what you need to.
and stuff. And so you do have to fix it, but it'll tell you how and stuff like that. So does a pretty good job and quickly. I think it took me like a minute to run for my whole thing. And it doesn't do every slide individually. It does the whole thing all at once.
That brings it another thing.
Mhm.
You have a video on adding extensions. I'm always scared of that I will see.
I don't want people adding extensions unless I tell you to. Because that actually can be an issue. Adding extensions,
Like you said,
Typically,
add this one, so how,
Yeah.
so.
you just,
So that's
you look
okay
up
to
Grackle
add.
Docs and it'll have a button to hit to let you do it. So
Does this work on a lecture, on lecture slides that have voiceovers over them?
it won't do anything about the voice part, but if you've done it in Google Slides,
Okay.
it'll do it. It looks at the slide itself, but it won't do.
Not the,
deal
not
with
the
it.
actual.
Right.
yes.
It won't know what's going on with that. Okay. Next one, Padlet. So this one we've had for a long time. And I love it, all right? It's a really great way to get your class to introduce themselves to each other. It's a great way to ask groups to do something. You can have different parts. It's a discussion that actually looks like a discussion or a bulletin board or something where people can actually go in and interact with each other. And by the way, that interact is video. It's native. They can, on their cell phone, just record a video. So video, audio, pictures, text, links, all of that stuff, all built into it. So for instance, where are you from? It literally has a map of the world. All right, so I first heard about this as part of ESL and introduction, have your whole class introduce themselves, where are you from? And all of a sudden they can see, oh, I've got two people, you know, there's this person that I didn't know in class that's also from the same place I am. All right. So a lot of times the where are you from is, if everybody's from Irvine, that doesn't work as well, but it's a really, that particular one might not be the right one for you, but you can do a lot of different things with it. Again, here you go to padlet.org and then you log in with your Google account from here. And it'll automatically, if it doesn't give you the teacher account, shoot me an email and I can elevate you to have a teacher account.
For the where are you from activity, is it creating like a theme or a background that enables the map, or is it just adding location services into the post or something?
It's got a map. One of the options is a map, and you can create your own as well. And then they click on where it is and
Create their posts for.
type in the information. It's really cool. And by the way, this could be done for parts of the body. It could be done for lots, whatever it is, an image or not, or whatever. It's completely up to you.
When we send out a Padlet to our students, they don't need to log in to see the page, right?
They do not, students do not need to log in to see the page. Or to interact with it.
And are there any limits on it, like how much you can use it?
The pro account, no.
Okay.
The account we give you, no, but if you get it on your own, then I think it's like 3 Padlets or something like that, 3 and 30 or 3 and 40,
Okay, so as long as we log in through our IVC connection.
then yes. The next one, quite positive. So you can do this live, you can do this in an assignment or you know, just as something in Canvas or something like that. You play the video, pause the video, ask questions, play the video, pause the video, ask questions, etc. So the reason for this image down here is because how many of you have heard of Ma and Pa Kettle? Okay, some people haven't, they're already laughing. Some people haven't, and that's okay. So Ma and Pa Kettle is an old, even from my perspective, old, black and white
Not from mine.
video. This is a particular discussion called Kentucky math.
I figure 75% to you, Mama, and 25% divided between the 5 of us. Gita, Crowbar, myself, Tom, and the baby. That makes 5% for each one of us.
Billy, you're cheating yourself. If there's 25% divided among the 5 of you, that's 14%.
No, all right, you don't have to be a math wizard or anything like that, but which one is correct? 25% divided between 5 or 14%? I already picked the 5%, right? That is correct.
And a piece.
Oh, no, listen, Pop. I wouldn't cheat you. You know I wouldn't. Now look here. I'll show you. Let me rub this out here. And 25 divided by 5 is 5. You see, the 5 won't go into 2, will it? No. But 5 goes into 25 5 times, you see?
No, you're wrong, Billy.
So, is 25 divided by 5, 5?
Yeah.
Yes. No, obviously, I'm. All right.
According to Paul.
Now, 5 into 25. 5 won't go into 2, will it?
No.
But 5 goes into 5 once. Now, we didn't use the 2 before, so we'll bring it down here. 5 goes 4.
You understand the explanation, how 5 is 25 14 times?
Yeah.
Didn't say that it was right, I'm just saying, do you understand that explanation, all right? So, all right, a little bit of fun. But you see what I'm talking about, where you can literally play the video, pause the video, ask a question, play the video, pause the video, ask questions. Now, some of the other things that it does is it allows your students to interact with the video too. So they could upload a video or a comment in the middle and stuff like that, all built into this one system.
Can I add this to the videos that they watch at home?
So any video that is on 3C Media, or if it's publicly available on YouTube, you can add it, you can put that in there. Okay, another cool feature of Play Pause is if you have a video that somebody else created, you're gonna use, like this one. Okay, obviously that's not something I've got or did or anything like that. I don't own that video. You can get it captioned legally. We'll give you the caption and you put it in Play Pause It, and Play Pause It will put the captions on. You cannot get the captioned video. It is not your video. Okay? If they did not get it captioned, to use it in your class, we do need it to be captioned. Play Pause It will allow you to put that caption in.
So I'm thinking this, that I can create a survey for each video that they watch,
Sure.
because it's a reverse classroom, so they can get a point for answering those questions.
Absolutely.
They are paying attention more.
Not only that, agreed, not only that, but you can see if you put it in your class and you have put it in an assignment or something like that, you can see who watched it, how fast they watched it, how far did they actually get in the video, how they answered the questions and stuff like that. That's all built into here.
So it's in Canvas.
It's already in Canvas. Yep, you
So-
just,
So I have to.
that's,
come up
it's
with
called an
question.
external tool.
I have to
you-
come up with the question. Is there
Find the
a
video
tool
and-
that will create?
You create the questions, go back to Brisk and put the video in Brisk and there you go. Okay, so yes, you can work together and make some of these tools happen that way. But it's a really neat way of interacting with your students. Now think about your syllabus. If you did a recording about your syllabus, you could actually prompt them, okay, no late work allowed immediately. How long after an assignment is due, do I accept late work? You know, you can, that type of thing, okay? And by the way, they can't skip the question. Kind of a nice feature. All right, the next one, and yes, you see that I'm only 35 minutes in and have gone through 8 of 10, right? Yeah, you guys know me better than that. So Pronto. Pronto is another really neat tool. So I call it FERPA compliant Discord. All right, why do I say that? Because probably every one of your classes has at least one, if not 2 Discords in it, whether you know it or not. Statement, not even an if, that's happening, all right? But Discord is not FERPA compliant. That means anybody with the link can get into that and can have chats with their students. This means only the people in your class can talk. It also works on your cell phone, their cell phone. It works in any environment that they're basically already in, but it's also built into Canvas. So what can you do? They can chat, they can type messages back and forth. They can put images, they can do GIFs. You know, little fun things. They can also hit a button and have a meeting immediately. They don't have to schedule it. They can hit record and have that recording in there. All right. It also allows you to create groups in Canvas and it will roll into that. And now that group is available, so it can just be group discussions. You can have your whole class discussion and individual group discussions.
Can this be used as a them knowing each other tool?
Absolutely.
That means they met somebody in class, but they don't have to have their phone number to ask a question?
Exactly why I use it in my class. Okay, because frankly, the last thing I want to do is give my students my phone number.
Right, right.
Second to last is my email address. All right, but I want them to get a hold of me. I want them to get a hold of each other. And I don't, especially in my class, it's an asynchronous class. They may have their next door neighbor, the other person may be across the world away, okay? We don't know. And so from that perspective, this is a really nice tool that way. One of the things I didn't list on here is it also does auto translation. What do I mean by that? The student can hit a button and have it automatically translate into their language. They can then type the response and it will automatically translate back into English for you. Assuming you want English, but now you've got that ability, and it's not a matter of, oh, okay, I have to remember these 12 steps, or I have to copy and paste or anything like that. It's just done. Right? Really, really cool tool for that.
Can we disable that?
Can you disable it? It is not enabled in your class unless you enable it.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, they need to be able to talk in English.
Well, but you have to enable it in your class, all right? And how you do that is you go to ibcnew.canvas.pronto.io. When you're logged into Canvas, you hit a button and then you say, this class I want to use it in, this class I don't, okay? If you do not physically say yes, the answer is no. Nobody will be able to use it for your class. Okay?
Are the groups student or instructor created, or can you do both?
So it's not grade. This has nothing to do with grades.
No, the groups.
Oh, made?
Yes, how are they?
So they can meet individually with a person. You can allow them to create their own groups. But the groups I was talking about are already created in Canvas. So under people, you can add a group set and have a group. So for instance, I use group work in my asynchronous class, drives my students nuts, but they have to work in groups of 3 to 4 on a particular project for the end of the semester. So they have Pronto so that they can go in and meet as a group. They can record the video as a group. They can whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want. They can interact. And literally I turn it on and I'm okay, I'm done. I don't have to do anything else to that. I do have to say that I want groups to be included, but that's all I have to do. It's really nice that way.
Can you also test it by using your student name, which pretend you're talking to your professor? So I'm trying to be two persons. That way I kind of see what it looks like.
When we turn student name back on, yes.
Okay,
The problem is that right now, student name is not working for a couple of different reasons.
okay.
I finally figured out the solution. I'm waiting for district to approve that solution and implement it, and then we will have that back up. I also had to, once we had to take it down, I wanted to wait until I could make sure I could make it work under banner. Because it didn't make any sense to turn it back on just to have it shut off again. So we figured out how. I just have to get the approval from the higher side.
My Pronto has been enabled for a long time, but when I go to apps in my navigation, it doesn't show up. Like I see.
In apps and navigation, correct.
Yes, yeah.
If Pronto is turned on for that class, once you go a page or two into the class, it shows up on the left-hand side in
Mine doesn't.
Canvas. Okay, then
Yeah.
I would want to take a look at it.
Does your course have to be published for it to show up?
Course does have to be published,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
In fact, it won't even show up in the list in Pronto until it's published. But yeah, if you see something like that, please let me know. I definitely want to take a look at what's going on in your class. So. Next one, read and write. So this is technically, we get it as an accessibility thing. However, I really like it for other reasons. So it includes a dictionary. Literally, you install it on your computer. It's also an extension, and you can put this on your personal computer as long as you use your IVC credentials to set up the account, right? When you do this, you've got a dictionary. So any word, you can highlight the word and hit dictionary, and it'll show you, attempt to show you a picture of the word. It'll give you a definition of the word. It'll let you hit a button and it'll tell you what the word is, audio, and stuff like that. So it's built in, basically. Whether you're in Canvas, whether you're in Chrome or not, you have this ability. And students have this ability as well. Most of the other ones I've got have something for students that they can do, but in this case, it's available for people, anybody who has an IVC email address. Right? And so website or desktop app, it includes settings such as speak as I type, which I think could be incredibly annoying. But as you're typing, it would actually read that back if that's something that you want. All right, again, I don't find all of these really useful, but it's really nice to know it's available. Okay, because somebody else does find it useful.
How does it work with like quizzes or exams with Proctorio? Like, would it be a separate tab that would be showing up, or how, like how?
Yeah,
How would that?
so when it comes to Proctorio, that's when it doesn't actually come up as a tab, but it would read it to them if they were using it. And when it comes to Proctorio, which is a really great question, so far, I haven't had people using it in Proctorio. I would ask that they try it and try it in that, like a practice exam first, if they're gonna do it. Because we have had people try to use other screen reading things. That's also, by the way, why I recommend in Proctorio that you don't, there's a setting for your screen and it's moderate, lenient, and extreme or something like that. And the extreme says you can't do anything to it. I recommend moderate or lenient because of things like this, where this isn't cheating. This is just playing that so that they can understand what it is. And by the way, it would show on the screen anyway. If you're recording the screen, you would see what they were doing. So you can tell very quickly that they're not cheating, but if you have it set to that extreme setting, this would kick them out of Proctorio. And so that's why I like it not to be extreme. By the way, in the extreme, if they resize the screen, so say they've got a 4K screen, a really nice 4K screen, and they want to actually be able to read the letters of your exam, and so they make it larger. In the extreme setting, it will kick them out because they're resizing, they're doing something to the browser. In the other settings, you can see it, and actually it's kind of nice thing because you can then see what they're looking at, and when they resize it, it just gets bigger. So, just side note there. And the last one of the 10 is something we were talking about before, ScreenPal. ScreenPal used to be Screencast-O-Matic.
Oh.
Now, for any of you who have used Camtasia, I'm sorry. This is a package that I can teach you how to use in about 10 minutes. And the reason I say that is because, like me, your job is not to edit video. Okay? Now, you might have to edit video as part of your job, but that's not your whole job. All right? And so why have a package that you need to spend hours and weeks learning when literally I can have you up and running on this in, like I said, 10 minutes. So this allows you to record your screen, your camera, your voice, all at the same time. By the way, most packages will let you do a screen only or a camera only, but they will not do all three. Zoom does that same thing, okay? So if you recorded it in Zoom, great. This actually, you don't need an internet connection to run it, right? Not only that, but you can actually put it on your cell phone. And so there's a video that I've got that I'm doing MFA, and I do it on the computer, and then I do it on my cell phone and back and forth and how it looks, what pops up. I literally recorded that 2 separate recordings at the same time. And then I chopped up the video and I inserted everything using the editor itself. And under the editor, you can't really see it, but under tools, you got cut, copy, hide, insert, narrate, overlay, replace, sound, speed, transition, and volume, of which I have used cut, insert, I finally did for that one thing, overlay and speed. I haven't needed any of the other ones, okay? I did do narrate when I was doing that particular one too. But what it does is it allows you very quickly, very easily to just do what you want to do and then move on. Now, this is not going to give you 4 tracks of voice or audio and all of that stuff. That's not what this is, but it lets you get to what you need. You can, by the way, add in audio if you want. If you have it record, if you're while you're recording and you have it happening, you can turn on and off your camera when you're editing. It doesn't burn that into the original video until you hit publish on that way. So it really does a nice job of just making it so that you are in control of your video. So another really, really nice tool that we have here, screenpal.com/Irvine Valley College. And click on recorder or edit and it'll download and then you do it again and it works. Now, students can use this as well. Don't give them the Irvine Valley College, they can get their own account for free. That does 15 minutes at a time. And they can edit it and everything too. Does 15 minutes at a time and puts a watermark on. But it's, I mean, how often do you ask them to do more than 15 minutes of recording, right?
So I was using it and noticed that it doesn't do automatic closed captioning.
You can't use that automatic closed captioning anyway, but yes, it does.
Oh, it does.
Yes, so on the right here, you have the ability to add captions. And you hit a button and it will automatically caption. It will put the transcript in and break it down and all that stuff. But you have to, when you're editing, you have to do it.
Oh, okay.
My suggestion is not to do that because some of the editing will put a really tiny letters at the bottom of the video and then make it smaller. And that's called open captioning. And the problem is it makes the video smaller and that font is like a 12-point font. And then you put it on your cell phone, you can't see your video or that. It's really hard.
So what would you recommend?
For captioning here, you submit a captioning request. You upload, you put your video wherever you're going to stream it from, submit a captioning request, and within 2 days, you get back the file and it's legally captioned.
So for, if captioning is important, is it easier to just do it on Canvas Studio
We don't have Canvas Studio
anymore?
at all. I hate Canvas Studio.
I remember using that. Maybe it was for another school.
We had 3 people use Canvas Studio before we switched to this new instance of Canvas. And Saddleback wound up paying thousands of dollars and having every one of their videos messed up when they switched. And it's things like that that make it so that I would rather use the tools, so other tools. And in fact, they're even going away from Canvas Studio for that reason, for several different reasons. But
Yeah, I was computer science. I like to see the students run their code for me. Is there a way to have them submit like 30 seconds only to tell, well, I guess I had to yell at them and say, if it's more than like 1 minute, I'm not gonna look at it. And I wanted to upload those as homework, say every 2 weeks.
they can just store it right in Canvas.
Okay,
And in Canvas, by the way, they can, in Canvas itself, they can also record their screen.
okay,
Canvas has that ability, but it doesn't, to my knowledge, it doesn't record screen and video at the same time. It has an option for your camera or your screen, but it doesn't do both at the same time.
okay. Yeah, I only need to see the thing actually running on their screen. I don't need to see their face.
Well, and the nice part is when this is recorded, you can fast forward.
Oh, okay.
You can, that 1 minute video can take about 10 seconds to go through.
Nice. Yeah,
All right. So that was 10. The next one. Play Lab, and this is not a surprise for anybody either, right? Okay, Play Lab. Play Lab is a really cool tool that allows you to use AI and create, I like to call it prototypes. Okay, so this is not going to be that beautiful polished piece that does, beautiful things. It's an AI chatbot, basically. But I've used it for a number of different things, and you see here ESL Center. ESL Center, takes the website and converts it into whatever language you want. Pulls it right off the website, okay? So we don't have to have 20 different versions of it, and now it doesn't fit a particular language because we didn't think of it. It's available. Now, we're working on that particular one. Financial aid eligibility checkers here, Nation Connect. Another one I did, conversation with Ernest Hemingway. Took me about 5 minutes to create, and it actually does sound like Ernest Hemingway is responding to whatever question or whatever you're doing. It was really surprising. I had heard that was the case, but I wanted to try it. Myself, in my class, I have uploaded the transcripts for every one of my videos into it. And so now when the student says, why is accounting important? It gives them an answer, and then out of my stuff, not an answer from the internet, out of my stuff, and then says, see video 4, part 2. I didn't have to tell it to do all of that stuff. It does it for me. Also in my class, it's a business class. In my class, it says they do a business idea. They need to create a business idea and stuff like that. One of the hardest things to do is get a group of 3 or 4 students who don't know each other to come up with a business idea. They answer a bunch of questions and it comes up with about 8 ideas. Now, the nice part is they can't use it for cheating. I've seen them try. Because they can say, oh, give me more information on number 3. But that's not going to create a business plan. It's not going to create any of the other stuff that they need to hand in, but it gets them off the blank page. And that's really part of what I don't want them to spend all their time trying to come up with an idea. I want them to implement that idea. And so giving them just a quick tool, again, it took me no time at all to write. And it's really quick and it really gets them to be able to use it. So some things that we can do. Famous person conversation, idea generator, syllabus bot. So some people are loading their syllabus in, and now the students can just ask you questions. What's the late policy? And it actually pulls right out of the syllabus.
I'm just more an AI tutor, so how would that?
So that's kind of along the lines of I uploaded the information that I wanted it to have. I upload my own course information and I tell it only use this information. Okay, because I don't want them finding out what somebody randomly said about accounting. I want them to come to get what I have said.
So you can upload your full Canvas course in this?
You upload Canvas upload documents or whatever material you want, and then tell it only use this. Or you can allow it to literally go anywhere in the world.
Because what some students, like, they're becoming lazy, they're like, how do I know at 1 minute what time is this thing? So this can solve that thing. I'm like,
If they ask that at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I'm hopefully asleep.
so
they
I can
ask it
upload all
anything they
my
want.
PDFs and they will know which slide in which PDF is that covered.
So you create the bot itself, what you want, but it's a really cool thing. If you don't have an account, just email me.
So you need an account.
You need an account, but yeah,
How did you do Ernest Hemingway? What did you upload?
nothing. I
So
just
where did
said,
it-
you are Ernest Hemingway, answer as if you were Ernest Hemingway. And that's why I thought, okay, this is gonna be horrible because I'm not giving it any context. And as soon as I did it, it got enough information from the world to. I said, okay, so what is your favorite work? What did you write that you really liked, and what did you not like, and stuff like that. And it actually pulled names from his papers and stuff like that.
So you.
Like I
don't
said,
need-
I did it really quick just to see what would happen, and was really impressed by 5 or 10 minutes worth of work.
So why would a student, so do you tell it it's a closed universe for this question, and for this question, it's a open universe?
Exactly. Yeah, and there's literally a setting. and a statement that you can make. It teaches you how to write prompts. It actually gives that to you, so you don't have to come up with all of it yourself. Trust me, I hadn't. So. Another tool, this one I haven't seen used as often. It's turned on in Canvas. You just have to make sure that it is available to you. It is not something that your students have access to. It does not read your Canvas course. So when it says here, clear directions or question generator or something like that, it's not going based on, oh, okay, this is the page that's open. It's based on you copying and putting text or uploading a document or something like that to it. Okay, but in Canvas, you have access to Conmigo tools. You can upload the material and it will create things like questions for a quiz. Clear directions. How often do you later read your directions and go, man, that was really good, all right? Me all the time. And so instead you can upload it in there and just say, hey, can you make this clearer? And it's designed for that. It's a little bot that allows you to do that. And it's built into Canvas already.
It'll write letters of rec.
You can use it to write letters of recommendation, yes. And it's just basically what we would have formerly used it as a template, but
But you have to give it
you have to give it the
information.
information that you want. Yeah. And it's got a whole lot of other things. I just picked enough to.
Have 5 to write in the next 2 weeks, so.
By the way, Brisk, I like Brisk a whole lot better. They have
That's
very
what
similar
my next
tools.
question was, would do. this
Myself?
thing Or Brisk?
I've used
or
Brisk a bunch of different times. I haven't used this more than once or twice. I've used this enough to have used it. I've used Brisk. I have not used feedback on Brisk yet myself. I've looked at it and I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm still new enough in my teaching career that I'm still trying to provide my own feedback. But that might be getting shorter as more students I get. The closer I get to 90 students for a part-time or for one class, the longer I'm. Yeah. So. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Not surprisingly, I've spent the whole hour. During PD week, I've got a number of presentations. One of them, Canvas and Instructional Tools. That I take the last 18 months and I cover between 30 and 60 items. So you thought I went quickly this way? That one is literally a minute to 2 minutes per item. All right, because there's that many changes that are going on. And I take, like I said, the last 18 months. So a couple of these will be on there, most of them will not. I've got 3 different open houses scheduled at the moment, and then providing feedback to your students using Canvas and other tools. Got a lot of different things in there. You can see some of the stuff and a lot of other things in that. And then OER project planning while teaching. Okay, so take a look for those and let me know if you got any questions and stuff like that. I'm gonna step up, I'm gonna close this down and then step outside. And if you got questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Tim, am I in the same room?